Why do teenagers fall in love so fast? Have you noticed? I'm Nicholeen Peck and I teach parenting, good communication, child development all over the world through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we are talking about love. In this video, we're going to be talking about love, what it used to look like, what it looks like now, and why we think that's happening, and what we can do to help our children have a healthy understanding of romantic love in their adolescent years. I love love. Who doesn't love love? Now, there is the love where it's like deep respect, reverence, admiration, honoring a person. That type of love, hopefully we can develop for all mankind and we can appreciate every single person. But then there's romantic love. Ooh, that's just exciting, like sparks flying and all of those types of things. When we get to experience romantic love, suddenly we start to feel things we haven't felt before. Suddenly we start to think of other people around us in a new way. It is incredibly intense and exciting, and the people feel like they are transcending where they are. They're suddenly, even though they're in the same couch, it's now a new place. Everything's new. Everything has changed. Romantic love has the power of changing your entire view of your life. It can cause depression if something goes wrong with it, and it can cause absolute euphoria, elation if everything is going great in your romantic life. When our children are in their teens, all of the hormones are changing. Puberty is in full force, and they are starting to experience feelings, thoughts, sensations that they haven't before. And they might be feeling a few things sexually, hormonally, but suddenly this day comes by where they looked at that one boy or that one girl and they think, you know, I used to think she was kind of meh, but now I'm like, whoa, something is about her. And now they don't know what to do with it, but they know that they felt something that was real. And as soon as one person in the friend group develops the sickness, the romantic love sickness, and everyone sees how amazing that looks and how much it preoccupies their thoughts and how cute the couple is standing next to each other holding hands or something like that, then suddenly everyone wants that. They want belonging. Everyone wants belonging. It's part of being a human. If you've subscribed to this channel, then you probably know that I talk a lot about the parent-child bond and relationship and the importance of that belonging in that relationship. And if that belonging isn't right, if that attachment isn't right, then both people don't get their needs met and ends up creating a lot of turmoil in the relationship and for the future life. Well, romantic attachments, while that type of belonging isn't quite as intense as the belonging to parents and maybe not quite as pivotal, does seem to be the second type of belonging that people crave the most. Now, I would say probably for girls more than boys. Like girls really in their teen years, they're like, I want to belong to that guy. You know, I think boys have a tendency to want to belong to the buddies, the friend group, the, you know, testosterone crowd a little bit because they're a little intimidated by the girls. It's funny how lots of times the girls are a little bit more brave in reaching out to the boys and kind of batting their eyes and, you know, trying to get their attention and flirting a little bit. And then all of a sudden the boys are like, maybe that could be fun, right? And then they start to jump into that too. For years in my church congregation, I was in charge of the group of young women, young girls ages 11 to 18, and I'd take them to different, you know, camps and conferences and dances, and I would just watch them as they behaved with these boys, and in some ways you're just like, okay, that's funny. But then in other ways you're like, I get it. You want him to look at you. Or you want her to want to dance with you, to care about you, to give you a nice close hug, you know, that type of thing. And they just want to know what it feels like. There's an element of experimentation that's there. But they also want to just know that somebody values them. I think that as you're growing older and you're getting more mature, you want to see that what you are is valuable to society and the other people around you. And I think that romantic love definitely teaches that type of thing. Many times young people jump into love because they have been groomed improperly by culture to think that romantic love is the same as sex, that basically you need to be having sexual interactions with somebody to have romantic love. And that is a big drive, a big craving for people. If people have been watching pornographic images, those types of things, then they are going to jump into love because they want the sex. And that happens for a lot of things. And really, many of them know they're just using somebody for sex. They're not really in love. So there could be one person who wants belonging and another person who wants sex, and that doesn't work out very good. Obviously, I am not a fan of teens having sex. I don't think it's smart. I think that wise parents discourage that, help create boundaries so that the children do not get tempted to go in that direction, because that is a total shift in lifestyle, in responsibility, and is something that is feeding just a selfish desire that they have, instead of teaching them that they can give themselves a no answer. So I just want to be really clear about that. Even though I'm mentioning, well, some people want sex, and there you are, and that doesn't mean that I think that's okay. I'm just saying that that's what happens. In these relationships, a lot of times they are so groomed by the sex culture that they want the sex so much that then they just say, oh, well, I love that person. I'm not even sure if a lot of people understand what it means to truly love someone, to cherish them, to want to sacrifice for them, to give for them, to inconvenience your life for them. That's real love. And then there's attraction. And I think that young people in their adolescence, they experience a lot of attraction, and it can be very confusing. It can be up and down, a lot of turmoil, you know, at the first, when you have that first love. I mean, I'll always remember my first love, that person that I had my first attraction, my first crush on that person. And I just hoped and hoped and hoped that they would think the same way about me. But, you know, it wasn't really meant to be. Obviously. Anyway, and you look back on it once you're older and you think, oh my goodness, that was so silly. But I think that you have to experience that attraction and then try to engage the brain at the same time, so you go, wait a second, let's logically think about this. Many times teenagers are jumping into love or wanting love so much because it's attractive, and because they're attracted to other people, and because they're not thinking it through. They're just going completely by feeling. Those feelings are so strong because of the hormonal development that is happening at their stage of life. It doesn't help that everything in social media and in Hollywood is all about the sex and about, you know, what another person is doing for you. And so lots of times people have this entitled mindset as they go into relationships in their teenage years, hoping to get something out of other people, whether it is a sexual, you know, favor thing, or whether it's just having somebody, you know, follow you around like a puppy. You know, I don't know. But people are wanting a feeling of power and control. I think there are some people who jump into love just because they don't know what else to do. Okay, so they're so used to being attracted to somebody that then when something doesn't work out, they have to find a new person to be attracted to, because they're just drawn in by that feeling of being attracted to somebody else and belonging. If you don't want your child to jump after love so quickly, let's just say impulsively, without thought, then a really good thing to do is to make sure that your family culture is strong, that you are bonded together, you are unifying together as a group, you are doing things as a family, and make sure that the relationship with the father is strong if you can. I know that doesn't always work, but children go to their mother for wisdom and their fathers for acceptance. A lot of the times. That doesn't mean that they don't get any acceptance from mother and no wisdom from father. I'm just saying, by and large, especially in their teen years, they want to know that daddy accepts them. And there is something about that male acceptance that lets them know everything is fine. If daddy accepts, his daughter and is like, you know what, you're a strong woman, this is what you do, don't let guys take advantage of you, I'm gonna beat somebody up if they do. You know, I mean, daddies say stuff like that, right? So let's say that a daddy, you know, has those types of conversations with his daughter, and he says, honey, do not settle, you know, or do not just chase after the feeling of love. Make sure we ask questions about it. Let us meet the person. Those types of things. But the daddy starts investing and showing how much he thinks that his daughter has value. She will value herself more too. She will not let somebody else, you know, take advantage of her and exploit her and objectify her as much as well. And when a young man sees himself as an up-and-coming, good, honorable man, if his dad has been an honorable man, then he will also learn, I have to be respectful of women. There's a certain way to behave with other people. Men do really contribute a lot to teen culture. I don't know if they realize that. And so, you know, that father figure does really matter. So let's say you don't have a father figure in your life. Mothers, that doesn't mean you don't do anything, obviously. We need to make sure that we still show acceptance to our children. We also impart of our wisdom to them, but we need to make sure that they recognize that just finding attraction is not going to be the answer to their desire for acceptance and belonging, but that comes mostly from home and from extended families. So maybe there would be grandparents, other people involved who would be able to help the child with that feeling of acceptance and belonging that they look for from a male. And they don't even consciously know they're doing it. It's a subconscious thing that a lot of people do. And I think for many girls, it's also a look for security and protection. They want to know that they have someone. For some people, it's control, but for many people, it's just that innate desire to belong. So in our families, let's take a more active role in relationship development at home. Let's put a higher priority on it so that children don't find their full value in romance when they're in their teen years. Let's help them plan ahead and make goals. So there is something that I do in my family. It's called mentor meetings. We do it every single week with the children, and we have conversations about their future plans and about what's going on right at the time too. And they plan for what type of a life they want to have with our family, but also outside of the family as they launch off onto their own. And we are preparing them step by step to make a really healthy launch where they will be respected, respect other people, and have really meaningful relationships instead of just getting sucked into that intense craving for romance and belonging to somebody else. So if you want to find more out about the meetings that we have and about how to communicate better with your children so that they can learn to listen to you, bond with you, I highly recommend listening to the full-length class that I have on this channel called The Not So Known Secret for Parenting Success. I think that would be very helpful for you as you are navigating these teenage years. So click on the link to that video now. I'll see you there.